You know, I've been in medicine for over 4 decades, and if there's one thing I've learned about aging, it's this. Sometimes, the smallest things we eat, without thinking, can have the biggest impact on how we feel. Let me ask you something. What if I told you that one of the most popular snacks in your kitchen cabinet could quietly raise your blood pressure, damage your liver, and even chip away at your memory? Shocking, isn't it? But it's true. I've seen patients who did everything right, ate healthy, walked daily, and still struggled. All because of a handful of the wrong nuts, every single day. And no one ever warned them. You see, not all nuts are created equal. Some are healing. Others are silent saboteurs. And today, I'm going to walk you through both. If you're over 65, this guide could be the one thing that keeps your heart stronger, your bones from breaking, and your brain sharp enough to keep names, faces, and stories alive. And at the very end of this video, we'll uncover the truth about one nut. Yes, just one, that's quietly doing more harm to seniors than most doctors even realize. So stay with me. This isn't just another health lecture. It's a conversation from someone who's been where you are, and who cares deeply about your health and independence. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I always love hearing from our community. And if you find this helpful, tap that like button and subscribe for more simple health advice right here on Wellness Simplified. Part 1. Nuts that are good for the health of the elderly. 1. Almonds, the bone and brain guardian. I remember a patient of mine, Margaret, 68 years old, sharp mind, great spirit, but always worried about her bones. She had watched her mother struggle with a broken hip in her 70s, and she was determined not to follow the same path. So I gave her one simple tip: start your morning with a small handful of almonds. Just that. Within 6 months, her bone scans held steady. Her joints moved easier. And she told me she hadn't felt this strong in years. You see, almonds are more than just a crunchy snack. They're little calcium vaults. In just 1/4 cup, you get around 97 milligrams of calcium, enough to start slowing the silent bone loss that speeds up after 65. But here's the secret. They also contain magnesium. And magnesium? It's the mineral that makes sure calcium doesn't clog your arteries, but instead goes where it's needed, your bones. Together, they're the tag team every senior body needs. Now let's not forget heart health. Almonds are rich in monounsaturated fats, the good kind, that help lower your LDL cholesterol, the bad guy in your bloodstream. And for those dealing with sluggish digestion, their fiber, 3.5 grams per serving, can gently keep things moving. Constipation is no joke after 60, and this is one easy fix. But what really excites me is what almonds do for the brain. A study out of Tufts University found that the combination of vitamin E and flavonoids, especially concentrated in almond skins, can help protect brain cells from oxidative damage. That's huge. We're talking about real defense against memory decline. My advice: go for 15 to 20 almonds a day, raw or dry roasted, unsalted. Keep the skins on if you can. But here's a word of caution. For those with trouble swallowing, almonds can pose a choking risk. So take your time. Chew thoroughly, and maybe even soak them overnight for easier digestion. It's incredible how something so small can guard your bones, your heart, and your memory. That's why I always tell folks, don't underestimate the power of almonds. 2. Walnuts, food for a sharper mind. There's something poetic about walnuts. They look like tiny brains, don't they? Nature seems to know exactly what we need, and when. And the older I get, the more I respect that design. You see, walnuts aren't just shaped like the brain, they nourish it in ways no other nut can. If you're over 65 and noticing those little slips, forgetting where you left your glasses, or pausing mid-sentence, this is the nut to pay attention to. Walnuts are the richest nut source of plant-based omega-3s. We call it alpha-linolenic acid, and for the aging brain, it's like lubrication for your neural pathways. It helps your brain cells stay flexible, responsive, connected. In one clinical study, seniors who ate just 1.5 ounces of walnuts a day for 8 weeks showed improvements in cognitive speed and mental agility. That's not marketing hype. That's peer-reviewed science. But there's more. Walnuts are packed with polyphenol, compounds that help fight the inflammation in your brain linked to Alzheimer's and dementia. And here's the kicker. These antioxidants actually cross the blood-brain barrier. That's rare. It means they don't just work in theory, they get where they need to go. And if sleep is your nightly struggle, walnuts can lend a hand. They naturally contain melatonin, your body's sleep hormone, which tends to decline with age. Some of my older patients started eating a handful of walnuts before bed, and within a week, they reported deeper, more restful sleep. That's not magic, it's biology. Want healthier blood vessels? Walnuts also contain arginine, an amino acid that boosts circulation, and they've been shown to work synergistically with blood pressure medications, helping keep arteries more elastic. Now, here's my tip. Store them in the fridge. Walnuts are delicate, and their oils spoil easily. Eat 7 to 9 halves a day. Not too many, just enough. And if you enjoy cracking them open yourself, even better. That little ritual helps keep your hands nimble and your portions controlled. So next time you're looking for a snack that fuels your mind and body, reach for a nut that thinks like you do. 3. Pistachios, the hidden hero for blood pressure and vision. Now let's talk about a nut that doesn't get nearly enough credit, pistachios. They're colorful, fun to eat, and surprisingly powerful, especially if you're over 65. One of my patients, Harold, used to call them the green peanuts. He loved them, but never realized they were quietly helping his blood pressure and even his eyesight. Pistachios are one of the few nuts naturally low in sodium and high in potassium. That's a rare combo, and it makes them a perfect fit for older adults watching their blood pressure. Just 1 ounce gives you around 285 milligrams of potassium, enough to nudge your systolic pressure down a few points. And the best part? No side effects, unlike some of those pills we're all too familiar with. But it doesn't stop there. Pistachios contain lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 powerful carotenoids that protect your eyes. These compounds target the macula, the part of your eye responsible for central vision, and they help prevent age-related macular degeneration, which is the leading cause of vision loss after 60. Now, I know what you're thinking. Won't snacking on nuts lead to overeating? Here's where pistachios shine again. Because they come in a shell, they naturally slow you down. That tiny pause between each nut gives your brain time to catch up with your stomach. It's what we call mindful eating, and it works. Studies even show that the pile of empty shells acts as a visual cue, reminding you that you've had enough. And for those dealing with arthritis in the hands, look for pistachios that are already half opened. You'll still get that satisfying crack without the struggle. Oh, and here's a little bonus. The green and purple colors in pistachios aren't just pretty. They're loaded with antioxidants that fight the free radicals behind aging skin, fatigue, and inflammation. My suggestion? Aim for about 49 pistachios a day, roughly 1 ounce, unsalted or lightly salted. It's a small snack, with big benefits for your blood pressure, your vision, and your aging body. So next time you open your pantry, skip the chips, and go for the green. 4. Brazil nuts, tiny nut, big thyroid benefits. I'll never forget Elaine, 72 years old, always exhausted, always cold, struggling to keep her weight steady despite eating well. She thought it was just part of aging, until a simple blood test showed she had an underactive thyroid. We adjusted her diet and added one tiny change. A single Brazil nut every day. Within weeks, her energy came back. She smiled more. She started walking again. That little nut? It made a big difference. Brazil nuts are small, yes, but they're one of nature's most powerful superfoods, especially for your thyroid. Just 1 nut contains over 130% of your daily selenium needs. That's right, 1 nut. Selenium is the key mineral your body uses to activate thyroid hormones, the very ones that regulate your metabolism, mood, and energy levels. And for older adults, thyroid issues often go undiagnosed because their symptoms mimic what we think of as normal aging. But that's not all. Selenium also helps protect the myelin sheath, the layer that insulates your nerve cells. When that sheath breaks down with age, your reflexes slow, your memory slips, and your nerves misfire. But with the right nutrients, you can support these protective layers and stay sharp longer. Now, I need to warn you, Brazil nuts are incredibly potent. More isn't better. In fact, too many can lead to selenium toxicity, causing nausea, brittle nails, even neurological issues. So please 1, maybe 2 nuts a day. That's it. Think of them as a supplement, not a snack. And here's a tip. Buy them in the shell when you can. It keeps the nutrients locked in and adds a little ritual to the experience. Store them in the fridge. Their natural oils can spoil if left out too long. Oh, and if you struggle with constipation, like many of my patients do, Brazil nuts can help there too. Their healthy oils and fiber gently support regularity, without the need for pills or powders. But perhaps the most fascinating part? Some studies suggest that the antioxidants in Brazil nuts may actually slow the shortening of telomeres, the little caps at the ends of your chromosomes that shrink as you age. And when those telomeres stay longer, so does your vitality. So the next time you feel a little low on energy or out of balance, don't reach for caffeine. Try one Brazil nut. One nut, one habit, one step toward feeling like yourself again. Part 2: Dangerous Nuts, Quiet Saboteurs. Now that we've explored the heroes, let's talk about the saboteurs. You see, not every nut belongs in a senior's diet. Some carry risks that grow more dangerous with age. I've seen it firsthand, patients doing their best, following healthy trends, but unknowingly setting themselves up for inflammation, digestive issues, even memory problems. Let me walk you through the 4 nuts I recommend you avoid, or eat only with great caution, after 65. First up, peanuts, the mold risk nut. Let me be clear, peanuts aren't even true nuts. They're legumes, grown underground, and that makes them particularly vulnerable to mold. One type of mold, Aspergillus, produces aflatoxins, which can quietly accumulate in your liver and increase cancer risk over time. The problem? Older adults have slower detox systems, and that risk just keeps climbing. And it doesn't end there. Peanuts are high in omega-6 fatty acids, known to fuel inflammation, and can interfere with blood thinners like warfarin due to their vitamin K content. That interaction alone has landed more than a few seniors in the ER. Even natural peanut butter can raise blood pressure and go rancid quickly. My advice: treat peanuts like a sometimes food, not a daily staple, and never assume they're harmless just because they've been around forever. Next, cashews, the blood sugar trap. Cashews look innocent, smooth, buttery, comforting. But behind that soft texture lies a spike in blood sugar that most seniors can't afford. With about 9 grams of carbs per ounce, and little fiber to balance it, cashews can raise glucose levels faster than many expect. For the 70% of older adults dealing with diabetes or prediabetes, this can be a hidden danger. And it doesn't stop at sugar. Cashews contain oxalates, which bind to calcium in your gut and reduce absorption. Bad news for already thinning bones. They're also tough to digest due to enzyme inhibitors, and they lose much of their nutrition during commercial processing. Oh, and that smooth shape? It's one of the most common choking risks for older adults with swallowing issues. So if you love cashews, enjoy them rarely, and in very small amounts. Third, macadamia nuts, the hidden weight bomb. Yes, they're luxurious. Yes, they taste amazing. But macadamias are the most calorically dense nut, nearly 200 calories per ounce. And for older adults with slower metabolisms, that adds up fast. They're also extremely high in fat, especially saturated fat, which can drive up LDL cholesterol. If you've got gallbladder issues, macadamias can trigger discomfort or even painful flare-ups. Their hardness also makes them risky for those with dental work or fragile teeth. And worst of all, many are commercially roasted in low-quality oils and salted to excess, turning a high-calorie food into a cardiovascular nightmare. If you've been snacking on macadamias thinking they help your heart, it may be time to rethink that habit. And finally, pine nuts, the medication disruptor. Now this one surprises most people. Pine nuts may look harmless, but they can interfere with over 60% of common prescriptions used by seniors, especially statins, antidepressants, and blood pressure meds. Worse yet, some people develop something called pine mouth, a strange metallic taste that can last for weeks. That might not sound serious, but for seniors, it can reduce appetite and lead to unintended weight loss. Pine nuts also oxidize quickly, producing inflammatory compounds that can worsen arthritis and cognitive decline. They're small, slippery, and easy to inhale, making them risky for anyone with dry mouth or difficulty swallowing, especially those on multiple medications. So what do all these nuts have in common? They're tricky. They look healthy. They're popular. But for the aging body, they can quietly chip away at strength, memory, and well-being. I'm not saying you have to fear every bite, but knowledge is power. And sometimes, avoiding the wrong foods is just as powerful as choosing the right ones. Conclusion: tiny changes, huge impact. So, let's take a deep breath and step back for a moment. What have we really uncovered today? Not just a list of good and bad nuts, but a reminder that even the smallest choices, the tiniest habits, can shape the way we age. The almonds that strengthen your bones, the walnuts that fuel your memory, the pistachios that lower your blood pressure, and the Brazil nut, just one a day, that quietly supports your thyroid and keeps your energy humming. And on the other side, a few nuts we thought were harmless, peanuts, cashews, macadamias, pine nuts, turning out to be hidden saboteurs. Not because they're evil, but because our bodies change. What works at May 30th not work at 70. And that's okay. Because once you understand what your body needs, you can nourish it in a way that supports your independence, your clarity, and your joy. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just start with one swap, one nut, one habit. Because when you do it every day, the results aren't small. They're life-changing. Now it's your turn. Which nut surprised you the most today? Was it the walnut and its brain-boosting magic, or the Brazil nut with its tiny but mighty thyroid power? Maybe you've been eating one of the riskier ones, like peanuts or cashews, without even realizing the toll it might be taking. I'd love to hear your story. Have you made a simple food change that helped you feel stronger, sharper, or more energized? Share it in the comments. I read them. And trust me, you never know who might be inspired by your words. If this video gave you even one helpful tip, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel, Wellness Simplified. We've got more content just like this, practical, proven, and designed especially for folks over 60 who want to stay strong, stay independent, and live fully. And remember, you're not just surviving this stage of life, you're meant to thrive in it. One step, one bite, one choice at a time. Until next time, take care of your heart, your bones, and that brilliant brain of yours. I'll see you in the next video.